Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddie1Skip. Guess who I am and guess who you're not. Guys, what are you eating, drinking, smoking? Where are you this time of the day? What part of the world are you in? Are you into Friday yet? Are you into the beginning of the weekend? Guys, thank you. Almost 15,800 short of 15,000. Can we get there? I'd love to get there. Please help me get there. If you can like, subscribe, and share, that'd be great, guys. I'd really appreciate it. A few things I want to tell you. We have a Facebook page. Thank you, Holly Jolly. We have a Facebook page, and we're getting some stuff up on TikTok. Bear with me. I'm working on it. We got merch. I'm working on the merch, guys. I haven't worked in Photoshop in forever. So bear with me. Please. Emails, I'm a little bit behind on emails. I'm okay on bracelets. I know I've just got orders for bracelets. I just sent some bracelets out yesterday, guys. So please, anybody that sent bracelets at like noon yesterday, they'll go out in next week's batch, guys. Okay, so bear with me. I'm trying, and Holly Jolly and I are starting to work together. So we're starting to coordinate some stuff. Just bear with me. I am behind. I know I'm behind. I know it. But you guys know I work, right? It's not because I'm lazy. It's because I work as well. You know, over 40 hours a week. In fairness. And I am working extra this week as well. So, guys, I wanted to tell you what I think. The real story is with Gypsy Rose. Like, I want to give you my theory, like A to Z, or as they say in the UK, A to Z. That's it. I think they say that in Australia too, right? And New Zealand. Guys. So here's what I think. Gypsy was born, not hatched. I keep hearing Morbid in my ear going, Sir Morbid going hatched. Nope. She was born to Rod and Dee Dee. That marriage wasn't meant to work because Rod was never in love with Dee Dee. And, whether Dee Dee trapped Rod or not, I don't know. Dee Dee's not here to tell us that. Anyway, there is a 7-year age difference. He is just 17. He actually, on his 18th birthday was when he says, I can't do this. She was 24. Guys, so Gypsy comes into this world and she's smart. We could see she's smart. We have seen movies, family movies, old videos of Gypsy as a baby. When her mom's talking about, where's your cranium? Where's your this? Where's your that? Things that, a child that age really wouldn't know. So we see that. We also see that Gypsy has the lazy eye and she has a unique face. You know what I'm saying? So then we find out that she has definitely a micro deletion. Now, that was mentioned by Dee Dee. It's in the medical records. It's what she has. Rod has mentioned it. When exactly it was diagnosed, guys, let's be clear. The micro deletion, that chromosome disorder, that causes the salivary glands. That was the reason for the salivary glands to be removed. You already see, we make fun of Gypsy doing that. Seriously, she would be rabid appearing if that wasn't done. I'm sure, probably could have choked on her own saliva. So she does produce a lot of it. Imagine not having that done. It causes the muscles in the legs to be weak, the extremities. A lot of the symptoms that Gypsy has is caused directly because of that chromosome disorder. The feeding tube, that was failure to thrive. So there was legitimacy in a lot of this. So at first they didn't know. And then they knew, but they didn't know what kind of disorder. They knew that there was something, so it was diagnosed way later what kind of disorder, but they knew that there was a chromosome disorder. So the deletion bit and which one it was that came out, I think in 2001, they figured out which one that was. Guys, the thing is, Gypsy legitimately had issues, but they were from the chromosome disorder. Previous to Gypsy being born, Dee Dee had already messed around and had written some bad checks. And, she was a con woman. She did work in the medical field, but she always, I guess tried to get more. Maybe she felt like she deserved more. She's not here to say what's up with that. But when Gypsy was born and these medical issues started coming out with her, there was the microdeletion, but it wasn't diagnosed at the time. There were other things. And even after it was diagnosed, there was still a lot of fraud going on, as we know. Now, how does Gypsy go in a helicopter? Where is the proof that Gypsy had cancer? That she goes from the helicopter from Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina to Missouri. How does the medical records, as far as we saw, don't even mention things like cancer and chemo or this or that. She's tested for things like that, and they're coming up negative. So there is a doctor, the one that I think she looks like, that Dee Dee follows, from Louisiana to Missouri. And I'll put his name here because I forgot it, and his picture here, because I did a whole video about how much him and Gypsy look alike. So Dee Dee had realized at some point that she could embellish the situation that Gypsy has and take great advantage of things like that. We know that there was con running through her blood. They were stealing shit. We know that Gypsy was a thief. She was a shoplifter. We know that. She shouldn't be in that store, Hobby Lobby, because her and her mom were banned for life. So, and she's on probation, right? So why is she in that store? I mean, come on. Seriously? And to have the gall to put the shit online, okay? That's another story. But it goes with the personality that I'm trying to speak of here. So inside of that house that Gypsy was living in with her mom, there were shit on the windows so that you couldn't see Gypsy walking around inside that house. Now, if Gypsy was forced to be in the wheelchair, she would have been forced to be in the wheelchair 24/7. There was a con going on here. There was a con. They were both in on it. At some point, they were both in on it. When Gypsy was singing horribly to that room,
I believe there are angels among us, sent down to us from somewhere up above. They come to you and me.
man, she knew that there was nothing wrong with her. She knew there was absolutely nothing wrong with her. She knew that she had that room. She got so much from this fraud. Not only did nobody have to work there, okay, but she got great trips. She got to meet celebrities in every single picture. She looks happy as can be. And it's all about her. It's all about her. Okay, it's all about Gypsy. It's not about Dee Dee. Now let's talk about Dee Dee for a second. Dee Dee's a single mom. Rod was supposed to pay a certain amount. He was inconsistent with it. Let's be fair. Rod was inconsistent with it. Here's another thing that let's be clear about something here. If Rod and Christy were told that Gypsy is only going to live to be about 18 or 20 years old, when Rod knew she was 18 years old, why didn't Rod make more of an effort to get to know his daughter if supposedly he thought she was only going to be on this earth maybe another 2 more years? What is the truth there? Did he really think his daughter was dying? And if so, why didn't he show up? I'd love to know that. If you think your daughter really has so much time on this earth, why didn't she show up? because she was in Missouri. You couldn't do that twice a year. Maybe go see her twice a year. She's dying. Keep in touch with her better. I don't know. Something. And when she's 18 years old and she's legitimately 18 years old, you could tell her anything you want, Rod. So, I mean, you just let everybody run your life. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, good or bad. See, the question here is how much did Rod actually know about this scam? Because I believe that he probably knew that there was a scam going on. And listen, it saved him money. You know, I don't think that shit's new to him. I think the thing that throws Rod off is, did she really unalive her mom like that for a boyfriend? No, it wasn't about Nick. It might have been about Dan, but it wasn't about Nick. It was about control. It was about her being of a certain age that she wasn't going to get the benefits anymore. If people thought, like, at that point when Gypsy unalived her mom, she was beyond the benefit stage per se. She was of the children, right? Because they couldn't keep going. She was already 24 or 23, 24 in real life, but they thought, everybody else thought she was 18, just turning 19 here. So that shit was over. There was a lot of stuff that was going to be over for Gypsy as a child, okay? How much more can you keep pushing? You know what I'm saying? I mean, ultimately, everything's going to get old. You're going to be found out. They started being found out by stealing. I mean, people started knowing who they were, what was going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Dee Dee was a horrible person. On the contrary, everybody thought Dee Dee was great. Everybody thought Dee Dee was just wonderful. She would have movie nights. She would everything, right? So where in any of this did she actually harm her daughter, with the exception of, let's just scam the world? There's, listen, if anybody's following that Wade Wilson thing, there's a woman named Monica in real life who called herself Ari, who's been like more or less baby reindeering this real Ari, and her mom's in on it. Like, no shit, it's a mother and daughter duo. So, I mean, yeah, that happens. Why did Gypsy unalive her mom? I think she totally used Nick, even with her body, by letting him think that he took her virginity, because somebody like Nick takes that very, very seriously. So I honestly believe that she manipulated him to the fullest. If she was supposed to get pregnant, I'm thinking that maybe she was going to tell Dan it was Dan's. Maybe. The unaliving that took place of her mom, I don't think for a second that Nick was supposed to walk out of that house. I really don't. Gypsy, first of all, told Nick to leave his mark on her. She wanted him to manhandle her. There were bruises. I mean, there were pictures of that. And Nick says it in the interrogation. She wanted me to leave my mark on her. So there would have been that if Nick was unalive, Gypsy could have turned around and said, he did this, and I just tried to defend myself. He did that to my mom, and I just tried to defend myself. Somebody else was supposed to go and pick Gypsy up, in my opinion, because Gypsy never had a way out. She didn't have the ticket. She did everything for Nick, but somehow forgot her way out. Her way out? She didn't have a ticket to Big Bend, Wisconsin, where Nick lived. Remember? They had to wait an extra day to get her a ticket. Why didn't she have a ticket? Because she was never going to go with Nick. Never going to go with Nick. Never going to go with Nick. She needed Nick at the last minute because whoever was supposed to be there, they didn't show up. Or they just said, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think happened that night. That's what I think happened. And Nick was supposed to be a victim. He is, but he was supposed to be more. And Gypsy was just going to take off. Like, you couldn't find Gypsy. Or if you found her, she had bruises all over her. But Gypsy also was never going to stay in that house. And the reason being is because If she was complaining about having to be stifled and be in the wheelchair, why would she stay in an area that made people believe she was still in the wheelchair? That doesn't make any sense. So I think she was supposed to get the hell out of there, but not with Nick. Not with Nick. So that's what I think happened. Why'd she unalive her mom? Again, I think it had to do with control and the fact that some of this shit was coming to an end. And I believe that they were probably arguing and fighting all the time because Gypsy was up to no good. Gypsy was up to no good. You know what I'm saying? She was online. She was getting involved with people way older than her. She was into the role play. We see that. We don't see any of Nick's. We see what Gypsy told Nick, okay? She was in his head for almost 3 years. So that's what I think happened. And that's what I think happened that night. I don't know if Nick unalived Dee Dee, to be honest with you. I don't know that. I think Gypsy is a sociopath. And I think she definitely had something to do with it. And she brought Nick in to kind of finish it off, to be there at the scene so that, he would ultimately, I think, be unalived. And I just think that part failed. That part just failed because the other person just, again, didn't show up. So that's my theory on that. I don't think, Gypsy, I think, was spoiled, okay? She learned how to read these wonderful books. I couldn't learn how to read those books. I mean, I couldn't, at 20, that might have been difficult reading for me, to be honest with you. But at such a young age, I think that Dee Dee made Gypsy her world. And that she probably was very overprotective. And she probably was stifling. But not in the way that Gypsy would have us believe. And I think Gypsy was just born pure evil, in my opinion. And that's what I think is going on. And that's what I think. As far as this baby and everything goes, well, that's another video, guys. Anyway, guys, this is Issues with Toddie1Skip. I am Toddie1Skip. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your day. I so appreciate it, guys. I really do. Bear with me. I'm getting to my emails. I'm going to work on that tonight. I'm going to work on some merchandise tonight. And, yeah. All right, guys, take care. Don't forget, be better today than you were yesterday, not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. Thanks, guys.